So thank you guys for joining me today. It's a great pleasure to be here with you. And I'm doing this webinar as a celebration for a few reasons. A celebration of the solstice, because we're coming out of the darkness, we're entering into the darkest night. And tomorrow, I think it's at 10:02 in the UK, that's when the solstice point actually is. So that's the kind of activation point of the solstice. So I'm doing this webinar to help us through the solstice, to support us in that darkness and coming out of the darkness into our power, into our light. And the other reason is because tomorrow I launch my membership program, which I'm really, really excited about. It's been a long time in the coming. So this is a celebration for those two things. And you know, there's a lot going on at the moment in the world. There's a lot in so many ways happening out there. And as I said, it's a time where we have the longest night. So we have the most darkness on the planet. And what we need to do is anchor in that light, harness that light within us so that when we set the tone to the new era, to the new dawn, to the light coming back, it's on the note, it's on the vibration of light, of healing, of community, of love, of whatever things you want it to be. Those are things that I want it to be. So that's what we're stepping into. We're stepping into the light again. So we've also got something quite cosmic going on at the moment because there's a rare planetary alignment that's not happened for 800 years. And that's happening tomorrow at, I think it's 6:02 p.m. UK time. So that is when Jupiter and Saturn align, and you can see them in the night sky. And this has quite an effect on our planet and on all of us as beings. So it's quite a cosmic time. And we really need to do things to step into our power right now, because all around us, our power is being taken away from us. It's being pulled away in so many different ways. So now is the time to really align. But in order to align and step into your power, one of the key things is we have to know what that actually means. What does it look like to you to step in your power? So I want you just to have a think for a minute, and we're going to do some meditation in a little bit. But I just want you to think and maybe type into the chat box, what does it mean to you to be in your power? What does stepping into your power look like? How do you look if you step into your power? What does that mean? What actions would you take? Would you look any different if you stepped into your power? Would you stand differently? One of the things that I know works really well for me is if I'm not feeling quite so confident or comfortable about something. You know, sometimes you're feeling a little shy, and what happens is you cave in on yourself, your shoulders round, you crush your solar plexus, you cave in on your solar plexus, which is the point of your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-value. So if you put your shoulders back, you stand up tall, you open up your solar plexus, and you get a power stance, basically, you're stepping into that power within your own being. You're creating that space in your being to say, you know what, I welcome it in. I welcome in my power. We've spent a long time in our lives usually hiding from our light, hiding from our power, because we don't want to be put down by others, because we're fearful of what's going to happen. We're fearful of rejection, and we're going to be talking about some of these things as we go. So someone's just said action. So stepping into power looks like action, letting go of other people's opinions of me and stopping being a people pleaser. Amazing. And I love your name, Transformational Health. Transformational Health is brilliant. That's what I call my work. So that's great. That's exactly right. You know, that fear can be such a huge block, can't it? That fear of what other people think. You know, I think this is probably the biggest block, and we're going to talk about this a lot in a little bit, to really being ourselves and stepping into that power. And when we step into our power, we're really stepping back into ourselves, into our being, and saying, I accept you. I invite all of you in. Someone else has said being authentic. And that's exactly right. It's the same thing, isn't it? When we come back to being able to be our true self and saying, here I am, world, like, accept me for who I am, because this is me in all my ups and downs, in all my darkness and my light, because that makes up the whole being, doesn't it? We can't all be light all the time, because then there wouldn't be any light. We have to have the contrast. We have to have all of us, and all of us is perfection. One of the things that always comes to me when I'm feeling a little bit rubbish about myself, and this has been something I use quite a lot, is I think about nature, and I think about the majesty in nature, and I think about flowers, you know, some of my favorite flowers. I think about the rose, because that is such a beautiful flower, and the scent that comes off it. And I think about, for me, I think about the elder tree with the elderberries and the elderflower and all of the medicine from that plant. And what happens is, when I think about those things, I remember the fact that I am part of nature, like I am a creation of this earth. So as beautiful as all those other amazing plants are, I am part of that. So I must be just as beautiful and radiant as those plants, because I am part of nature. I am one with it, just as you are, just as we all are. So that's one of the things I use myself when I'm feeling a little bit not so, like, you know, not so great, because we all have those ups and downs, and that's okay. We can't always be full power. But what we're doing today is we're looking at ways that we can step more into it. We can embody more of who we are and what that really means to us. So the areas that we're going to look at today are setting intentions. We're going to, oh, hang on, I've got lots of people waiting. Let's let them all in. Okay. Hello to all the people who have just joined. Sorry, I didn't see you there. I was in full flow. So just to recap those who have just joined, we're just talking about what stepping into our power looks like for us. And we've had some great examples of letting go of other people's opinions, stopping being a people pleaser and being authentic to ourselves. What it looks like to you to step in your power. And as I said, please do type in the chat box anything that comes up for you that you want to share. So what we're going to look at today, the key areas are setting intentions, because this is a really important part of it. We're going to look at identifying strengths and blocks, creating a toolkit, and achieving optimum health, because these are all the things I believe that are so important to stepping into our power. And in that, we're going to do some meditation as well. And at the end, we're going to have a chance for question and answers. But as I said before, any questions you have as I'm going, just type them in the chat box. So we're starting with setting intentions. Why is this important? Well, without focus or knowing where we want to go and what we want to achieve, it's very easy just to drift aimlessly. And before you know it, a lot of time's passed and you've not got to where you want to go because you don't know where you want to go. So when we set an intention, what it does is it allows us to get razor sharp about what we want. And then the universe can really get behind us and support us in those steps. So setting an intention is basically, it's an activating part. It's activating part of your receptivity. So it's really opening you up to receive. And it's kind of like if you go out and you say, oh, I'm going to have the day out, and you don't have a plan of where you're going to go. Sometimes this can be amazing because the flow can happen and fate can take over and you can have an amazing time. But other times you drift aimlessly and you don't really get anywhere. You don't achieve what you wanted to do. And maybe you waste that valuable time that you could have had actually doing something that you really wanted to do. But maybe you didn't spend that legwork, putting in that time and thought as to actually what you wanted to create. So this is the really important thing. It's like, what do I want to create? And how does intention help us to get there? Well, what happens is your intention is a really powerful way of showing the universe that you're ready. And also of when you start to set intentions, when you start to achieve them, what you do is you create this positivity around you because you can see that you've had success. So then when we have success, it breeds more success because we get happy, we get excited. So setting our intention is really activating our receptivity to manifesting and to putting out that intention to the universe for what we want to create and how we want to create it. So this is a really, really powerful tool to use. So part of the ritual of manifesting, of setting these intentions, is actually thinking about what you have achieved and having gratitude. Because if we're always setting intentions about what we want, what this is doing is it's actually putting out to the universe that we're living in a space of scarcity, because it's saying, I don't have enough, I'm always striving for more. And it's great to strive for more, but it's really important to honor where you are in this moment and what great things are happening in this moment. And I know sometimes that can be hard, can't it? When life is taking over and you're not feeling so great, it can be really hard to sit there and feel grateful. But what I've experienced is that the more we can do this, the more we can have gratitude, the more we have to be grateful for, even the small things, you know, and then they start to tumble in more and more and more. So one of the things I love to do is in the morning, this is part of my ritual for setting intention and also for gratitude. So in the morning, I have my bath. I get up before everyone else. I have my bath with my Epsom salts in and my essential oils, and I lay there and I meditate. And I think about all the things I'm grateful for. And I really just tune into that. And then what I do is I ask my body, I tune into my body and I set my intention. I ask my body what it wants that day. What do you want, body? What do you want today? And I ask my spirit, what do you want? And I set my intention based on those responses. So I'm acknowledging my body. I'm acknowledging my spirit, my soul, and what it wants and what this physical being wants, because it's really important that we also honor this physical vessel that we're in, because it's very hard to step into our power if our physical vessel isn't working properly. And we're going to talk about that more later on when we look at achieving optimum health, because this is a key component to really stepping into our power. So that gratitude takes us out of that space of scarcity. That gratitude really says to the universe, I'm here and I really feel privileged to be here. Yes, there may be things that I want and I may be striving for things, but thank you for everything that you give me and support me with. It's like having food, you know, saying grace, which doesn't have to be a religious thing, but saying that grace, opening up into what you're grateful for, allows that to come in more. One of the other things about setting an intention is that, and that gratitude energy, is that what this does, and this is a really interesting thing that I feel a lot into at the moment, I'm feeling a lot into at the moment, is that our body is made up of over 80% water. And there's some amazing work by someone called Dr. Emoto. Dr. Emoto, incredible, did some incredible research. Let me just write his name into the chat for you. Emoto, there we go. So Dr. Emoto did some work on water. And what he did was he analysed water, and he looked at that water and the structure of the water and the geometric structure of it. And what he found was that when water had nice words, or was sung to, or was told love or gratitude or peace or healing, it had a beautiful geometric structure. And when the water had hate or idiot or stupid or any of these horrible words said to it, it dispersed and it had no geometric structure. He also took it on to go to different sites in the world where there'd been trauma or war or things like that, and analyze the water there, and again to sacred sites and analyze the water there. And what he found throughout was wherever there was trauma, upset and hurt, the water had this dispersed non-geometric structure. Wherever there was love and peace and beauty and all of these things, there was this beautiful, like snowflakes, crystalline structure. So one of the things that really resonates with me is the fact that if we are over 80% water, if we're going around saying, oh, you idiot, stupid, and calling ourselves names or belittling ourselves or thinking we're never good enough and all this other stuff, what that's doing to our inside structure is it's destroying that crystalline beauty that we should be, that we are. So the more we can set intentions and be grateful for ourselves and where we're at, the more we can create this harmony within our being. And what that then does is that ripples out to the world, because our energy doesn't just affect us, it affects everyone around us, and then their energy affects everyone around them. So it's like that stone in the pond, that ripple goes out for a long way. So we want our ripple to go out and be as beautiful as possible and as harmonious as possible. But again, it's coming back to that thing of not beating ourselves up when it's maybe not so good, because we're all going to have those ups and downs, but catching yourself as much as you can to come back into that space of gratitude and intention. So one of the things that's really interesting to look at is that intentions aren't really the same thing as goals. Goals are very, I'm going to reach 100 likes on this post, or I'm going to sell, X amount of this product. That's kind of more goal based. Whereas intentions are more about who you want to be, what you want to contribute to the world, and how you want to touch the lives of those around you. So for an example, an intention that you could say for this is, I intend to show acts of kindness today and open myself up to the possibilities of bringing joy into the life of another. So that's an intention that you potentially could set. And setting intentions can make you more effective. So one intention could be around being more productive. But if you start to think about being more productive, one of the things you can look at is saying something like, I intend for my mind to be receptive to clarity, inspiration, and any information that will guide me towards my goals. So what you're doing is you're framing it in this way where you're opening yourself up. We don't want to close ourselves in and become myopic, tunnel visioned over something. We want to open ourselves up into that beautiful, broad space so that we can invite in. So this is where these intentions and the clarity with the words you use can be so important. Another thing with intentions is it helps you to get out of your head. So often we have so much going on in our head, don't we? Our heads are full of stuff. And when we voice our intentions, what we do is we take our mind off the problem or the perceived limitations of the problem. And we focus on how we can have positive impacts in our life. So clearly stating what you want, and what you're doing then is you're taking that power back in your hands. So I intend to live in gratitude for all that I have and all that I am, allowing joy and love to fill my heart and positive energy to fill my body. So I really like this one. I think it's really beautiful. So if you want to repeat this with me, I'm going to say this one again. And if you just want to feel into this, and if you want to change any of the words as you're saying it with what resonates for you, I intend to live in gratitude for all that I have and all that I am, allowing joy and love to fill my heart and positive energy to fill my body. Just take a moment to breathe that into your body and actually see how that feels. I'm going to say it again for you to say with me, and just really notice how it feels when you say these words. I intend to live in gratitude for all that I have and all that I am, allowing joy and love to fill my heart and positive energy to fill my body. How did that feel to you? If you want to type in the chat box. When I stop and say things like that, it does just that. It opens up my heart and it takes me out of my mind and into that deeper space. It usually makes me want to cry, to be honest. I'm quite soppy like that. But, when we open up into love and we open into our heart, that love is just unbelievable, isn't it? When you really stop and feel, wow, it's an amazing thing. People are saying very resonating, perfect, thank you, beautiful. I try as much as I can when I do something. I refer to a saying that I choose to do this, not that I have to do this. I have free will, so I choose to be, not to have. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, perfect sense. It's accepting and taking that ownership back into yourself as opposed to being a victim of something. Softness across my heart space, lovely, thank you. I choose love, beautiful. I'm glad that you all resonated with that as much as I did, as much as I do. And I think that, you know, when we're stepping into our power, one of the keys is to step into our heart. You know, the more we can step into our heart, into that soft vulnerability, and let down the pretenses, let down the barriers, let down the fears, the more we can get out of all of that and we can just get into our heart and that softness within our hearts. Funny, people often mistake vulnerability for weakness, but actually it's through real vulnerability that our power comes. Because in that vulnerable, open space, we are ourselves. We're not hiding, we're not pretending, we are. And when we are, life flows and love flows. And what more is there to life than love, really? Ultimately, self-love and love for all beings on this planet. I think that, you know, ultimately is what I feel it's all about. And we get so sidetracked, don't we? We get so caught up in all this other stuff. And we forget that love is the true essence of everything. So stepping into our power, I feel, is stepping into ourselves, into our heart, and into love. So I'm going to post that up in the chat box, that affirmation, because it's a really great one, I think, to work with. And the more we can say affirmations and set our intentions in this beautiful, positive way, the more things will just open up and we will be able to step in our power with ease and grace. That's the thing I think that's so important, and it's so beautiful that we do things with ease and grace, because through ease and grace, you know, life is joyful. As much ease and grace as we can, you know. And I want to reiterate this, because we can't always be in that state of ease and grace. Well, we can eventually, but it takes work. And I think, you know, the biggest learnings come from when we're not, because we learn how to get back to that space. So don't beat yourself up when you're not, when you're less than perfect, when you're angry, when you go through any of these normal human emotions and experiences. Know you're doing your best. And when you catch yourself, return to your heart. And I think that's the key, isn't it? When you catch yourself with anything, come back to your breath, come back to your heart, come back to your intentions. Instead of doing what so many of us do and beating ourselves up when we forget to do something. So another part of setting intentions, or how it helps, is it opens your eyes up to things that you would have otherwise missed. So we can sometimes go through our whole day, can't we, totally absorbed and locked into our single vision that we've got about whatever it is, and we miss all the things around us. And one of the intentions that I think is really beautiful is I intend to expand my focus so that I may enjoy and appreciate and contribute to the beauty of nature. And this is a really special one for me, because I love nature and I love the plants. And, you know, when you get out in nature, you can get out in so many different ways, can't you? You can go for a walk and you can walk and not see anything around you. You can just be walking. But actually walking with that different view, that view of actually appreciation for the hawthorn berries that are out, or the mushrooms, or the squirrel running up and collecting a nut, or whatever it may be, the cloud going by, all of these beautiful things. When we can focus on those beautiful small things, again, it helps us to bring more of the same things in. And what it does is it helps us to remember to appreciate every living thing around us. So that, I think, is a really beautiful thing. So intentions, as I said, a really great way of focusing on what you want to bring in. So in a moment, we're going to do a meditation, and I want you to think about your intention for stepping into your power. What does that look like? And if anyone wants to share it after the meditation in the chat, then we can. Another important part when it comes to stepping into our power is identifying our strengths and our blocks. And this is really key, because in order to really step into our power more, we have to know what power we've got. What are your superpowers? So if you want to take a second and type in your superpowers in the chat box. What someone said, no idea, eating. I love that. That's great. What are your superpowers? What are you good at? What do you actually, when you think about it, what are you good at? What makes you sing? What makes that inner part of you go, oh, and you feel alive? Because that is where your strengths lie. You know, when we think about what makes us feel good, that is an indication to our strengths, because you have that uplifting feeling, that heart connection. So standing up and saying, you know what, actually, this is what I'm good at. What it does is it's not bragging. You're not saying, look at me, I'm the bee's knees, I'm great at everything. Because we're kind of shown, aren't we, that when we stand up and say, I'm good at this, it's bragging. And we're told that we shouldn't do it because it's not good to be boastful. But actually what we then do is we shut ourselves down, and we hide and we hide and we hide until we're so deeply hidden within ourselves that we can't even see ourselves. So thinking about those superpowers that you've got, someone said empowering others, great. Another person says empathy, beautiful superpowers. Someone saying awesome with one-to-one teaching and empowering with non-neural typical mindsets, great. So when we can stand up, compassion, and go, this is what I'm good at, then what we do is we make space for more of that to come in. If we're constantly just looking at what we're bad at, then first of all, we're going to feel rubbish about ourselves, and we're not going to be stepping in any power when we're constantly feeling bad about ourselves. This doesn't mean we shouldn't look at that side, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't, because that is a key part of it, looking at what's blocking you. But first you need to look at where your strengths already lie, what you're succeeding at, what you're good at. And what you're doing is you're honoring yourself. You know, we've come to this world with gifts, and we've maybe harnessed and worked hard on other gifts. You know, we've developed ourselves to be good at things. And so acknowledging that, so you're really honoring your journey, which is such a beautiful thing. But what we have to look at, and this isn't always easy, I find this quite hard sometimes, is looking at what we're not so good at. And we're not looking at it from a negative point of view of, oh God, look at how rubbish you are. But what we're doing is we're going, so I'm great at this, but I'm not so good at this. And in order to help myself move through, I might need more support in this area. And that's a really key thing, isn't it? Sometimes we need support in some areas because we're not going to be great at everything. We don't have to be great at everything, because that's not our superpower, to be great at everything, because there wouldn't be room for anyone else. But we all connect in. It's like that puzzle, isn't it? We all make up those different sections of it. So we all have our superpowers that when we join together in community, we can really go and anchor in and be strong. Someone said the darkness has meant looking at superpowers makes it a little harder, like feeling guilty or something. Yeah, it's when there is darkness around us, and when we're in that dark space, looking at our superpowers can be harder, for sure. We get caught up, don't we, in the negative, and the negative is so much stronger so often than the positive narrative in our mind. Our mind takes us down these tangents of jealousy, of poor me, of lack, of whatever it is, of fear, so often. So it's coming back into, hang on, okay, I may not be great at this, but what am I good at? And that's a really important thing. So our blocks are this is a really interesting thing as well, because our blocks are what are stopping us from achieving greatness, but our blocks are also probably the things that are that when we look at, really allow us to step into that power. You know, those are the things that, it's like the lump of coal, and inside that lump of coal is a diamond, but you need to get to that diamond. So you need to work through that block, and at the core of that block, maybe some real pain, but underneath that, we open up into something. One of my blocks I'm going to share with you all. When I was, I think, about 7 or 8, I loved singing, absolutely loved singing. And I loved acting. I was always going around singing and dancing and acting. It was like my thing. And we were doing a performance of Chess at school, at the musical. And it wasn't a school production. It was, I had organised it, and we were doing it at break time. We were working on it and putting it together. And so I had headphones on in the car one day, and I was listening to the soundtrack of Chess and singing along. And my father told me that I was flat. And my father was a very lovely, supportive, beautiful man, but he told me I was flat. And so in my little brain went, when you sing, you are flat. Now, I talked about this to him when I was older, and about what it did for me in that moment. And he said, I just meant because when you were singing with the headphones, you couldn't hear yourself, so you were flat. He said, you've got a lovely voice, and I've always said that. But I didn't remember all the hundreds and thousands of times that he said, you have a lovely voice. All that stuck in my head was, you're flat. And so even today, you know, when I sing, that little voice is in the back of my head saying, make sure you're not flat. And I've done a lot of work with it. But that's my fear. And I love singing. I love to sing. I think it's such a beautiful thing when we can open our voice, open our throat, and allow the divine that's all around us to come through in a beautiful way. You know, we're going to be singing, my family, tomorrow from 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning. We're singing to bring in the light. We're singing to anchor in sacred sound into the earth, which I can't wait for. What a powerful thing that's going to be. We did it in 2012 in London. We ran an event and we sang all night. And when it came to, you know, you would lay there and you would be in this hall, and different people were leading different sections, and you would kind of drift in and out of sleep. And as you drifted in and out, the sound of sacred chants was on your mouth and in your mind, and it was kind of encompassing your whole being. And I remember the joy and the euphoria that as the sun started to come up, it's getting me a bit emotional just thinking about it, that buzz of we've done it, we've almost done it, like we've sang all night to anchor in this light. And you know, that was quite something. It really was, that energy coming up of like, wow, we've done it, yes. And the earth giving back, you know, the rushes of energy coming through your body as the earth said, thank you for giving back to me. Someone's just said in the comments, was there, it was incredible, thank you. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It was an amazing night with so many people there. It was beautiful. So my family and I are going to be doing that tomorrow. So you can join in from wherever you are in the virtual world. Send your spirit, send your thoughts out to the universe, and even if it's for an hour, hold that vibe of sacred sound going into the earth, that intention to, you know, really move into this new era in peace and positivity and love. So slight sidetrack, but that, you know, our fears, our blocks are very real. And I think fear is probably one of the biggest blocks to stepping into our power. And one of the things that I found is that every time you face your fear, you move a step closer to greatness, to your greatness, because you're not letting it stop you. You're not letting it hide your light. You're saying, yeah, I acknowledge that fear. I acknowledge you. I see you and I understand you and I love you. Ho'oponopono is a beautiful thing to say to our fears. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And my husband did a beautiful song for Ho'oponopono, which if you type in Giles Bryant and Ho'oponopono into YouTube, the video, the song comes up and it's really lovely. I will sing it briefly to you since we've just been talking about it. I love you, I am sorry. Please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I am sorry. Please forgive me, thank you. Ho'oponopono. So that's basically it. And I did go a little bit flat at the end there, but that's okay. So it's a really beautiful song, and singing that to yourself, saying that to your fear, saying that to your being is a really amazing thing to do. So one of the things when it comes to fear that's a really important thing to do is identifying where it comes from, maybe even drawing it. And that's a really big step, actually going, okay, what is my fear? Where does it come from? Tracing it back. And drawing can sometimes be such a therapeutic release, can't it? Letting that fear out. And then saying to yourself, what is my bold move going to be today? What am I going to do today to push me out of my comfort zone? Because that's what fear is. It's stepping outside your comfort zone so that you can grow, so you can expand, so you can step into your power, into your beauty, into your light. I've recently, so today, really exciting, check out Peace on Your Plate. Peace on Your Plate is a beautiful movement that my husband and Gavin Chappell-Bates created last Christmas for peace and positivity in the world. And I've been involved in all the songs so far. There's been 3. And the third one has just been released today. First premiere of it on Kind of Sound Radio today at 3:30. So that's really exciting. It's going to be released to the general public on the 1st of Jan. And it is an amazing song. But the next Peace on Your Plate song is going to be called something like Groove Kitchen. And I have been asked if I will do the lead vocal on it. So that makes me go and get really locked in fear, but also it makes me go, that's really exciting, and I'm going to seize it. I remember when I was first given the opportunity to do a talk, and it was in front of about 150 people, and I had 2 days notice, and I was really nervous. And the person called me up, who was a friend, and said, look, someone's just pulled out, can you do a talk on nutrition? I was like, yeah, of course. And I think that's been one of my defaults that I do so often. I say yes. When I get an opportunity come, I say yes. And I sometimes have no idea how I'm going to make it happen. And thank goodness I have a really supportive, beautiful husband behind me who helps me make things happen, which is great. But, you know, I said yes, and I seized the day, and I worry about the details later. And I think that's a really big step of how we can step into our power, by just saying yes to things and going, you know what, I'm going to trust that this opportunity came to me for a reason, and I'm going to step into it fully and trust that I wouldn't have been offered this opportunity if I wasn't ready or good enough for it. And that's something that I think about a lot in my life, that if I wasn't ready, these things wouldn't come up. So for me, that's a really important part of it. So what we're going to do before we do the next section is we're going to have a little meditation. So we're going to have a meditation about intentions, about our strengths and blocks, about what our power looks like. And then after the meditation, we're going to go into creating a toolkit to support us in that journey and steps to achieving optimum health. So if everyone wants to get comfortable, then we shall begin. So if you just want to start by bringing your awareness to your breath. Centering your attention and following the movement of your breath. Following the movement as you inhale through your nose. And feel that breath moving through into your lungs. Feeling your diaphragm expanding. And feel the energy of that breath grounding you deep into the earth. And just keeping on following the breath, the inhalation and the exhalation, feeling that ebb and flow of your breath. And feeling as you bring your awareness to your breath, that deeper sense of connection to yourself and to the moment. And as you relax and soften into your breath, see if you can now make each part of the breath deeper and longer. Not putting any stress or strain on your body, but just seeing if you can deepen that breath. Lengthening the space between the breath. And noticing if any emotions come up in that stillness, in that gap between the breath. It's common to sometimes feel fear when we're in that state of emptiness, when we've breathed in and we've exhaled and we just hold in that space. And that feeling is sometimes the same feeling we have in winter. But knowing that it's in that space that we can truly be still and connected and one with ourselves. We are microcosms of nature, and we are energetic beings that are animated by our breath. So consider this for a moment. Each breath is keeping you alive. We need both the inhalation and the exhalation, the life-giving breath and the clearing release, which creates more space for the next breath. Now, as you continue to breathe deeply, we're going to think about what our strengths are. Focusing on what you do well. And not judging the things that come up, just allowing them to come up and noticing them. Now we're going to think about what is blocking us. What's blocking us in our life? Again, not judging, just being aware. And in this time of darkness, we want to think about what we can let go, what we can release into the darkness. And thinking about that darkness within our own being. And what is our darkness there to teach us? What is the darkness there to teach everyone? And thinking about yourself sat in the darkness, maybe sat in a cave in yourself. And then seeing the sun slowly moving around so that a shard of sunlight shines through into your cave. And as that shard of sunlight hits your cave, it begins to illuminate you. And I want you to think about what that illuminated you the you that is stepping up into your power looks like. And as you feel that light shining more and more, so you feel that light within you rising up, that light within you rebirthing you, so that as we go into this new era, we go into it in light. And asking this beautiful, powerful, radiant you what it needs from you to support it. What does this beautiful, radiant, powerful you need from you to support it shining and growing? And then with that knowledge of what your being is asking for, I want you to set your intention for this solstice, your intention for moving forward into the light, into your light. What is your intention? And then giving thanks to yourself, giving thanks to the earth, and bringing your awareness back to your breath. Back to your body. And when you're ready, opening your eyes and writing down anything that came to you. And if you want to share anything in the chat box that came to you, then please feel free to. Okay. So if anyone wants to share anything that came to them from the meditation, then you can. Okay, so we're going to, someone says, felt beautiful to feel connected. Such a beautiful thing, isn't it, to feel connected? It's such an important thing, and it's something that we all need. And, you know, feeling connected to ourselves and each other and the planet, I think, is the key to life, isn't it, really? And everything in our life and society is designed at the moment to disconnect us. So we have to fight that in a beautiful, loving way and really go back in and connect back into ourselves. Someone said, to put my needs first, learn to ask for help, walking the sacred druid path, and be the woman I was born to be. Beautiful. That's very, very beautiful. And I think that being the woman or man that we were born to be is the most important thing, isn't it? Someone says, emotionally supportive network and physical nourishment needed. Beautiful. It's great when we start tuning in and asking ourselves what we need, because we have the answers. That is what's so amazing. We have the answers within us. We just have to learn to tune back in and listen. So the next part of what we're going to look at is creating a toolkit. And one of the important reasons for creating a toolkit is that when we're stepping into our power, one of the things we need to know is that we've got support and help. We are not an island and we can't do things alone. Now, that support and that help doesn't have to be physical. It can be energetic. But knowing we've got this toolkit behind us, these things that help us feel like someone's got our back, is so key to being able to step forward fully. So what a toolkit does is it helps you to know that whatever comes up, you've got it covered. You may get a bit weepy and emotional or whatever, you may be thrown into the fear briefly, but you know that you've got those things to come back to. I had this the other day when I got a letter from my oldest boy's secondary school. He's in year 11 and I was just on his mocks, and I got the letter saying that all secondary school children will be having a test for COVID. And I went into fear and didn't feel like, it was like everything collapses around you. And it's like, oh God, what am I going to do? But very quickly I brought myself round because I've got that toolkit of support. I've got the toolkit of breathing, of meditation, of mantras, of different things I can pull into my arsenal to go, it's okay, just breathe and be calm. And actually nothing is ever as bad. Then you start to research from a clear point of view as opposed to from fear. And then you can start to really see things clearly, and your intuition will guide you into spaces. So when we look at what a toolkit looks like to us, this can be different for each of us. A toolkit can be anything from having a supply of food in the house in case you fear that you're going to get cut off from being able to get food, or having your first aid kit, or having your healing balm, so that if anyone gets any cuts or grazes, you've got something, or having medicinal mushrooms or a CBD hot chocolate. So our toolkit can be very different, but ultimately they're the same kind of grounding things of what we should have in there. And meditation and breathing exercises, I think, are a real key to help you feel connected and calm. Put in the chat box what you feel you need in your toolkit. What would make your toolkit feel good? Like, what support do you feel you need to step into your power? For me, one of the things is singing. Sacred chants really helps me to reconnect. It really helps me to get out of my head and into that deeper space of real connection. And those sacred chants can be anything from any, place in the world. It's about finding out what resonates to you and what brings you that feeling of strength and connection and support. For me also, it's calling on the archangels. Archangel Michael, we call on him every night to help protect our house, clear away any negativity, and help us to feel safe and grounded. My kids love it. Really helps them to feel supported going to sleep. Someone said feeling organized and taking personal time out each day. So important. Organization is not one of my massive strengths. So I need to, that as we talked about earlier, when we look at strengths and weaknesses, I need to get other people to help me a bit with the organization. And that's fine. I do. And then it's never so bad. So I think that feeling of being organized is a great thing. Sometimes that feeling of needing to be organized and everything to be in its certain place before we can make a step forward is also a block. It's also something stopping us from taking action in the moment. And I've seen that with a lot of people, I want to achieve this, but I can't achieve this until I've done X, Y, and Z. And sometimes actually what you need to do is just throw yourself off. It's like step into your power. You have to actually just step into it and go, you know what? The I's are not dotted and the T's may not all be crossed, but I have to take action whilst the momentum is there and the energy is there. And that is so important. Sometimes perfection is not always perfection. Sometimes perfection doesn't have the vibe. And ultimately, for me, what I do is I always, like before doing this call, I align myself, I ground, I meditate, I connect in, and I call in my higher self, my guides, the beings of light, the angelic, and I ask that the words that come through me are for the highest good of all. And I ask that I am a channel and that I hold space. And that's what I do is I open up space and hold it so that people can open themselves up to an experience. So when we do that for ourselves, when we hold space for ourselves and we create that container around ourselves and going, okay, I'm now in a safe space, I'm held. You may want to cleanse and smudge your house of negativity, or call in Archangel Michael to clear that, because these are things that can block us as well. Block us from stepping into our power. If there's loads of negative energy from the past stuck on our shoulders, we don't want that. That's like carrying someone else's backpack. You need to clear that off, and sometimes clearing it with sound or incense or bells is a beautiful thing. Someone's just said, gosh, I felt myself drop. Then I saw myself slip on a metal grate. That was weird. I need to have compassion for myself and be okay with everything. I am my uniqueness. Beautiful. Not the slipping on the metal grate. That's not so weird, but maybe that's saying that you're not looking at your footing so much. Maybe it's about grounding and really anchoring in so that you've got strong footing. You're not walking on a metal grate, because that's hard to do, but you're walking on solid ground and you're really anchoring into the earth. That's what just popped into my head from that. See if that kind of resonates at all for you. So it's creating that toolkit from the things that are really important and that you need. So if you want to take a moment just to write down a couple of things that you want in your toolkit, and then if you want to share them, then please do. What do you want in your toolkit? What is the optimum things in your toolkit to support you stepping into your power? Just take a minute to write that down. And if anyone wants to type them up in the chat box, then please feel free to. Someone said in their toolkit they want confidence in intuition and an ability to not fear judgment. So one of the things is to strip that back. That's beautiful, but strip it back underneath that. So what could you have in your toolkit to support those things? Well, for me, that confidence in intuition, that is about meditating more. It's about going into your body and listening more. And the more you listen and the more you act on the listening, the more it comes in, and you can do that even more. So that's a really important, for me, that was when you look at, okay, so what do I need in my toolkit? Well, okay, I need confidence in intuition, but how do I get that? What skills do I have to have in this toolkit? What tools do I need to take that in? And ability to not fear judgment. For me, again, that comes down to, for me, it would be chanting, and it would be doing that, something like that, to really help me to feel strong in myself, because the ability to not fear judgment comes from the more grounded and the more strong you feel in yourself. So what things could you do to feel really strong in yourself? Someone else says, using my healing bowl more, make more time for me by asking others to help me to look after my elderly mum. Beautiful. I need acknowledgement that I'm on the right path. Yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? Acknowledging, wondering if we're on the right path. I think we all have that, don't we? Where we think, am I doing the right thing? Am I going the right direction? And again, this comes into the more we can ground ourselves and anchor into the earth. I think this is ultimately one of the biggest keys to everything. The more grounded we are and the more we can tune into the earth, for me, really anchoring into the earth and rooting into that allows that strength of confidence, to come through, that surety that what I'm doing is right, because I'm really anchored and grounded. The uncertainty comes from being too up here, too up in the ether, and not enough in the earth. So I think the grounding and the anchoring, so maybe you could add in a grounding meditation every day. Singing bowls are a beautiful thing to do more, because again, that will help you to connect into yourself more. Someone said compassion for self, letting go of things I can't control and being okay with that, finding moments of joy that are about me being a human being, meditating more and feeling into me, eating high vibration food and water, letting go of low vibrations like alcohol and sugar. Beautiful. Yeah, really, really good. And what I would do is, again, when we're creating a toolkit, it's about narrowing it down. It's about constantly wheedling things down so we get to specifics. Because this is where there's ambiguity, our mind is a really clever thing and just allows us to go off on tangents and find excuses out of things. So when we're really like crystal clear, okay, my toolkit is X, Y, and Z. My toolkit is I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes a day or 15 minutes or whatever is actually doable. And I'm going to make sure that I am eating X, Y, and Z. You know, really getting into that is a perfect thing. Someone else has said, is chanting the same as affirmations? So generally chanting is more singing. It's more singing based, like Om Namah Shivaya, Shiva Nama Om. That's a chant, or Om Mani Padme Hum, or whatever one it is. But those are kind of, it's usually sung more than said, a chant. An affirmation is usually a statement. So, you know, I trust in life. I trust that the way will be clear. Well, that can be both a chant if you sing it or say it. Trust in life, trust that the way will be clear. That's from our beautiful friends Stephen and Renata Ash, the Rainbow Medicine Circle. So it depends, you know, an affirmation is a statement of positivity. So it could be a chant if you do it repeatedly in that way. So these are some great tools and things that you guys are coming up with. Absolutely brilliant. So that takes us on to achieving optimum health. And so often health can get in the way of people feeling like they can really step into their power. So we've got to look at how we can overcome this, and creating a daily routine to point you towards optimum health, I think, is a great thing. And not letting not being in optimum health stop you, but doing everything you can to support your body to achieve what you want to achieve, and honoring your body for where it's at in this moment. Your body may not be in optimum health in this moment, but honoring everything it's doing, honoring the fact it's breathing, it's doing all these things without you putting in conscious effort. It's got all these thousands of functions going on that you don't have to do anything about. So honoring that and creating a plan for yourself so that you can really support your body through stepping into your power. So, you know, some really simple tips is making sure that, especially in the UK at this time of year, you're getting enough vitamin D. You're optimizing your vitamin D, because this helps with your mental functions. It helps with your immune system, your nervous system. 900 functions in your body require vitamin D. So making sure that you're optimizing that. Vitamin D3 with K2. Now, I've done lots of talks really going into the specifics of health. So I'm just going to touch on a few points here. So if you're taking vitamin D, then ideally as a woman, you want 4,000 IUD a day, and as a man, 5,000 to 6,000 IUD a day. That is to maintain the levels you're at. So if you feel like you might be deficient, you can get a test done with your doctors, or what you can do is you can just optimize your vitamin D over 1 month, taking 10,000 IUD a day and then dropping down to the 4,000 IUD a day mark. And that will help to optimize your levels and make you, and really help in so many different things. So vitamin D is a great thing. Hydration, super important. You know, if you want to achieve optimum health and you're not hydrating your body, then you're really going to struggle. Water is an essential key to life, just like oxygen is. So hydrating your body. I put a little pinch of raw grey sea salt into my water and I've been adding more salt and having brilliant effects recently, adding more like a teaspoon of salt to a pint of water. And when I'm talking about salt, I'm not talking about table salt. I'm talking about a raw grey sea salt, a Celtic salt, a salt that's not been kiln dried, that is in its natural state and that has not been chemically messed with. So as nature intended. And what I found from this is that this has had a huge effect on my energy and my whole being, feeling more alive. But I talk about this a lot in other things. So I'm just going to touch on these few key points in this area. So making sure you're hydrating yourself, making sure that you're taking your vitamin D, making sure that you're getting adequate levels of vitamin C, especially as it's colder and there are lots of germs around. Vitamin C is super important to help reduce our cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone in our body. So creating simple steps like this, and these are a few things you can do really easily. You know, another step you could add into your daily routine plan is that you're eating, you know, whole foods, whole plant-based foods as much as possible, so that you're adding in that nutritional level of adding in goodness. You know, if you don't have time to eat a lot of stuff like that, maybe adding in something like my super green mix, which is a great thing. It's wheatgrass, chlorella, spirulina, nettle, camu camu, sea buckthorn, reishi, lucuma, rosehip, baobab, and beetroot. So that's a great thing you can add to water or to a smoothie to really give you that boost. So making sure that you're nutritionally getting things covered. And I cover this in my 12-week mentorship program. I create a daily routine for you. So that's something that, or in a one-to-one session, that if you did want to really get into creating a daily routine for optimum health, then through my mentorship, that's something that is useful. Someone says, I love and honour you all. I have to go. My daughter is starving. No worries at all. Thank you so much for being here with us. And I will send you information about my membership and how you can get involved in that if you want to. And thanks for being part of it. So yeah, adding these things in is a really beautiful thing. Another great thing to do is creating a wellness journal where you write down every day things that are good about your health. Now, if your health is not so good, then this is even more important, because what you're doing is you're not focusing on the negative. You're focusing actually on what the good is. You're not ignoring the negative or being unrealistic, but you probably focus, because you're in pain or whatever else, a lot on the negative. So if you can start to pull some of that awareness back into, well, actually, what's going well in my body? What is working? And writing those things down every day is a really big step to opening up and moving into that positivity. You know, there are people like Dr. Bruce Lipton out there that have shown us the power that our mind can have on our health. So the more we can bring our mind on side in that positivity, the more that can help support good health. I'm not saying that's going to sort everything out, but that's a really good place to start, by bringing in that positivity and supporting us. Basically, what we're trying to do is harness our energy so that our mind is a positive ally for us. So looking at really putting these steps in place and getting as clear as we can physically. One of the things that I'm really enjoying at the moment is taking charcoal. This is a C60 activated charcoal. And it's a beautiful thing to take. I take it in the morning. And what the charcoal does is it clears out your body. Studies have been done with mice that shows that by giving mice charcoal, it increases their longevity by 25 to 40%, which is huge. So it actually increases lifespan. And what that shows us is that a large part of lifespan is down to toxicity, not necessarily nutrition. So if we can clear out some of those toxins, we allow our body to work even better. So, you know, someone mentioned before, one of the things they want to do in their toolkit is have a high vibrational diet. You know, get rid of those low vibration foods or cut them out as much as you can, so that your body becomes a beautiful temple. And you honor your body with everything you put into it. Everything has more of a consciousness to it that's going into it. So these are some beautiful steps that you can take to really start embodying and empowering yourself to step into your power, to step into that light that is already there. It's allowing it to shine through. So those are a few things that you guys can do. In a second, I'm going to open up to any questions you have. But before we do that, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my membership, which starts tomorrow, which I'm really excited about. And the membership is a monthly Zoom call. So like this, where there's me talking about a subject and some meditation, and then a Q&A section at the end. So this will just be for members, and then the recording of it will go up into a portal where you'll have lots of videos. This portal is really exciting as well, because in this portal, it is a video library where you've got nutrition, and you've got recipes and other information about nutrition. You've got yoga, where you've got different little videos about yoga. You've got breathing, where you've got videos about different breathing techniques, meditations. What else is in there? Foraging and growing your own food. So there's lots and lots of different sections in there that you can access. There's a video library of my talks. So a large amount of the content is just exclusively for members only. So it's not on YouTube. It's stuff that I am recording just for you guys. So it's really, really exciting. And then it's going to be the best of my other stuff that is on YouTube, but in an organized way, so you can find it really clearly in that members area. It's also access to super discounts just for members. So I'll be giving you discount codes each month on my products and other workshops and things like that. So you've got the videos, you've got the members portal with all the videos in it, you've got the monthly Zoom call, you've got the discounts, and you've also got access to a private Telegram group. Now, Telegram is a great new platform. Well, it's not that new, but new to me, or newish, which is uncensored. And I've got a group in there, so you can share information, you can share what's going on with you. I can comment and help and support you in there as well. So it's getting access to me and sharing and creating a beautiful, supportive community where we can all come together and be helping each other, because I think that's what we really need, don't we? Now we need spaces where we can come together and have that support. So if anyone's interested, let me just put the link up in the chat for the membership. It's £33 a month. You can sign up for just 1 month, or you can sign up for a whole year. And if you sign up for a year, then it's £240. So that goes down to £20 a month. So you can do it for 1 month, and then you can see if you like it, or you can do it ongoing. So it's very flexible and easy to do. In January, I'm just setting the date, but it's going to be near the beginning of January. I think probably the 3rd of January, we're going to do a detox special, and we're going to go into how to detox. A lot of people want to really kickstart their health in January, and I'm going to be starting a detox myself then. So I'm going to do a webinar all on that. So that's going to be great. And then we're going to have some really other amazing subjects. So anyone have any questions? If you do, you can type them into the chat box, or if you want to unmute yourself, then you can do that too. Sally, did you want to say something?
No, I just thought I'd unmute myself, and then I realised my cat was licking himself right next to the mic. So I thought it might sound a bit weird.
Did you have any questions, Sally?
No, not right this second, no.
Okay, no worries. Nice to have you with us, though.
Thanks.
Anyone else have any questions? Oh, someone's had... Thanks, Juliet. This has been very inspiring and reminded me what I'm all about. Beautiful. I'm really pleased. You know, it's really important that tomorrow we really harness and anchor in the light as much as we can in whatever way resonates with you. We are in a space of darkness on so many different levels. So the more we can bring that light in through our own being into the earth, then we act as these beautiful conduits for it. So that's a really important thing. So if we can do this, if we can all do this at some point, there's a really powerful thing happening tomorrow in Australia at 11:32 a.m. UK time. And it basically, the light is being put back into Uluru, which is the sacred stone there, really sacred to the Aboriginals. So it's a really powerful activation point that is happening. So if we can take time tomorrow at 11:32 or around that time to focus on this anchoring in of the light, it's going to be really important. So the more we can do this, the more we can really help us step into our power, but also everyone else. You know, this is such an important part of it all. If we step into our power and our light, we give other people permission to do the same. So it's a really, really important thing that we do this, you know, for ourselves and for humanity. This is, I feel we're at a choice point. now. I feel that we're at this shifting timeline. We're at a point where we can really step into where we want to go, like where we actually want to go, and not just be driven by the forces of life, but actually start to harness in what we want. So I think that this is a really key time for us all to step up now and say how much we want to shine. So yeah. Does anyone else have any questions?
I have a question, actually.
Yeah.
Are you doing the singing and chanting online?
No. We're doing...
No, just doing it with yourselves. That's nice.
Yeah. I think some things are not meant to be broadcast. And I think sometimes you just have to be in that inner space. So part of me would love to, but I think it's also really important just to anchor in. I might do a meditation live at 11:30 in the morning. I'm not sure where. I'm not sure what platform, because I'm trying to move away from Facebook and Instagram and all those other things, because their censorship is just too much. So I am moving things onto Telegram and MeWe and other platforms, so that we can be in a space that is free from censorship. I was banned from Facebook for 30 days on 2 different accounts for speaking up about health and well-being. So that was a really great thing for me, because it showed me that actually it's time for us to move into different areas. So yeah. So join Sally from the ether. Join us, just tune in and you'll feel the vibes.
Yeah. I'll do my own chanting here.
Nice. Beautiful.
That chanting at the Unity Church back whenever it was absolutely incredible. And my daughter talked about it, only a month or so ago. Yeah. It was a really lovely event.
Thank you. Yeah, that was on December 21st, 2012. And one of the very interesting things is when you look at Mayan astrology, they thought that point was a really big shifting point. And what's so interesting is that when they've looked at it, the calendar was out by 8 years. So it's believed that point of 2012 is actually now, that big shifting into a new reality. So yeah, big times of change. So if no one has any other questions, someone's just said, tomorrow I will go up into the woods at the top of the hill with my singing bowl and sound it all around. What time is it best to do this? So 11:32 is this key point where they're basically, the elders have taken out the power of Uluru because it was being desecrated, and they took it out. For hundreds of years, it's not held its kind of power that it's meant to hold. And tomorrow, they're putting it back in, which is just like, I mean, when you really think about that, that is just such an incredible thing. And I've been at places with the Aboriginal elders where they've done ceremony, and the ceremony that they've done has just totally, there's a video, not of the ceremony, but of me talking to one of the elders. His name was Uncle. It's on my husband's YouTube on World Healing Project. And I'll put it out in a newsletter with the recording of this because it's very powerful. But he did a ceremony at this place called Bentley where they were trying to take over and frack this beautiful Aboriginal land. And so many people came together to stand up against it. And what was so incredible was they did this ceremony and they lit the sacred fire. And at the end of the ceremony, he got his stick and he went boom into the earth. And it was like a bomb had gone off energetically, the ripple that went out into the earth. And we all stood there and went, and you knew in that moment, the only person that was going to win that battle was the earth. There was going to be no fracking on that site. And there isn't. The fracking company fracked off, which was amazing. And it showed me the power of those Aboriginal elders, the power of any elders, those Indigenous people who are so connected to the earth. And that light. So when they put those stones, when they reactivate and recharge up Uluru, it's part of the sacred rainbow serpent of the earth, the sacred chakra system of the earth. So when they start to activate that point again, it will reactivate the whole of the rainbow serpent of the earth and re-energize the earth into, I think where it needs to be right now for the light to shine more fully. So really exciting. So yeah, that was a long answer to your question. 11:30. Does anyone else? Oh yeah.
Maybe we could think about the beautiful ancient woodlands that people are fighting to save, of where the HS2 train line's going.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that would be, I think that's a really good thing to include in tomorrow. Just I think sending out a thought to all those places on the earth that are being destroyed for greed and corruption, and that are being abused. And if we can send that thought of love and healing and support out to the earth, to all those sites, to all the sacred sites of the earth, to all the trees and all the living beings, so that they can anchor in that light and really feel that love and strength, I think that's will be a really powerful thing to do. So thank you, Sally, for including those woodlands. Beautiful.
I just wanted to say, if anybody ever wants to go there, there's a place called Denham, Denham Country Park, and where they're cutting down the woods and where there's a camp of people protesting against it is very, very close to the Denham Country Park car park, and it's incredibly beautiful as well. It's somewhere in Buckinghamshire, Denham, okay. Kind of near the M25, on the west side of the M25. Just in case anybody ever wants to go, even if you can just pop in for an hour, it's a great place to go.
Beautiful. Thanks, Sally.
Can I ask another question? Sorry.
Yeah.
If you're sending out the light through you and bringing it in through you, do you bring it in through the top of your head and then do you send it out through your heart? Like you're like a Care Bear, the children's. Do you send it out through your heart like a Care Bear?
You totally can. One of the things that I like to do is I like to feel the light coming down from above, and the light coming down into me, and the light coming up from the earth, and the 2 points of light from the earth and from the sky meeting in my heart and shining out like that.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do is you can just pull in a column of light to go through you into the earth, because when it goes into the earth grid, you're sending it out as well. So you can send it out in whatever kind of, one of the things that's so important is to trust your intuition and what flows. So you can totally be a Care Bear and send out the love like that. I love that image. I used to love the Care Bears.
I know, I saw that. I thought that was so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay.
Someone said, for me, I imagine a dark sludge coming out. Yeah, you can totally imagine a dark just clearing and asking the earth to transmute that and to shift that dark sludge into light. That's a beautiful thing to do as well, to get that real clearing. Does anyone else have any questions before we finish? So as I said, if anyone is interested in my membership, then please do click on the link above, and it goes live tomorrow. So you'll get access to the video library and then the Telegram group, which I'll be adding people to as they join up tomorrow. And then the first webinar will be the beginning of January. So you can sign up at any point there as well. And it's going to be an ongoing thing. So whenever if you feel called to, then you can join. If not, that's great. But thank you all so much for being with me here tonight and stepping into your power and looking at what's blocking you. And it's been lovely to see you all. Please do come and join me over on Telegram. Let me just post my thing into the link. If anyone is on Telegram, it's a really great place to be. Let me just find the Telegram link, because it's not censored, it's not spied on, it's not like Facebook or Instagram that's going to copy all your stuff. Someone said, thanks for bringing light to us. Oh, thank you. We've done it together. It's a joint effort of light bringing. I'm just going to get this link, because I will be coming off of other platforms soon enough. I'm just here we go, share link, that's the one I need. Oh, share link, why is it doing it like that? Trying to get in touch with new technology though is not always the best. Share to, that's the one, copy link. Okay, so if anyone wants to copy the chat down, because the chat will go after I close the call. So the chat will not be open after I close the call. So if you want to copy and paste it all, then you will have that, the links that I put in there. I will upload the video to everyone who signed up, because I know some people, quite a few people, couldn't make it live because of the time. So thank you guys for all of you who did join me. Really lovely to hold space with you all. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Lots of love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks ever so much.
Thank you.